Welcome to your November 2021 horoscope. My name is Cailin, and today I'm going to be covering the major transits for the month ahead using tropical astrology and the whole sign system. I strongly recommend that you watch your horoscope for your ascendant sign first and foremost because it will be the most accurate for you overall. Having said that, if you've got time to watch your sun and moon sign horoscopes as well, go for it because the sun sign horoscope will tell you more about your life goals and your career, whereas the moon sign horoscope will pertain more to your living circumstances and your family life. Now, I've got an exciting announcement to make. I am putting together 2022 horoscopes for all 12 zodiac signs. So these horoscopes will be super in-depth and you'll be able to purchase yours on sale if you buy during November or in the first 2 weeks of December. So these will retail for $16.99 US, but you'll be able to purchase yours on sale during that period of time for just $12.99. So please make sure you are subscribed to the channel and checking the website regularly because there will be an announcement once these are available for sale. And now let's dive into the November horoscopes. Hi Gemini Sun, Moon and Risings. Welcome to your November 2021 horoscope. Before I get into your horoscope today, I'm going to do something a little bit different and pull an animal spirit totem card just to see what energies are going to be with you for the month ahead. Okay. Oh, we've got the horse. Okay, so the horse reminds me of the chariot in tarot, which is all about moving towards your goal at pace. And horses to me represent freedom, and they're also very spiritual creatures and they have a very high emotional intelligence. So this month it's going to be all about breaking free from what no longer serves you, and that is very on point with the notes that I've prepared for the month anyway. So on the 30th of October, yes, I'm starting backwards because I missed this transit last month. We've got Mars entering the sign of Scorpio, which means it will be transiting your 6th house, and it will be there for about 7 or so weeks. So with Mars ruling the sign of Scorpio and transiting your 6th house of health, daily habits, and work, this shows that there's going to be immense focus on those areas for you for pretty much the whole month. And also we're going to see your ruling planet Mercury also entering Scorpio on the 7th of November. So with these two planets, Mars and Mercury, being in your 6th house, you're going to have amazing problem-solving abilities for pretty much this whole month, but especially after that first week. So if we're looking at health, there will be a big focus on you taking better care of yourself. You may want to be working out. You can successfully cut out any bad habit that you don't want to be engaging in anymore. And I say that because the 6th house is connected to our daily habits, and those include the good, bad, and the ugly. So on a different level, you may be motivated by support networks or a support system which is online. And I say that because Mars rules your 11th house, which represents the internet and large groups and communities. So there may be people who you've never even met who are rooting for you or who are inviting you to join some kind of support system for, having better daily practices. Now, with tackling problems in the workplace, this is a great month for you guys because the 6th house is representative of any kind of conflict that we are experiencing. And because the 6th house is connected to one's work environment, if there is someone who has been undercutting you at work or who has been putting you down, this is a great time for you to confront this individual. The 6th house in astrology is representative of our open enemies. Now, this can be someone that you just have, a bit of healthy competition with, and now it's sort of gone too far. Or some of you may have an outright arch nemesis who, you've just never gotten along, but you've never had the courage to stand up to this individual. Mars as a planet and operating at its worst can be a bully, but with your ruling planet entering the 6th house here and with the sun being in the 6th house as well, this shows that you're finally able to take the bull by the horns and confront any situation which is out of balance in your life. It certainly doesn't need to be with a bully per se. This can be, speaking up when you're at a meeting at work. This can be having a difficult conversation with your boss or with a coworker or with anyone who you don't really see eye to eye with. It certainly doesn't need to be just centered around the workplace. In any case, the 6th house is the house of conflict, and this month is going to be all about you having effective systems and processes in place to tackle any issues which crop up. Now, on a different level, the 6th house is connected to procuring a loan or a mortgage. So if this is something that you have been pursuing or that you want to pursue, there may be additional checks and balances that you need to go through. Now, on the 4th or 5th of November, depending where you live in the world, there will be a new moon in Scorpio in your 6th house at 12 degrees, and it will be in a wide conjunction with Mars, which is the ruler of this new moon. So this is very powerful, okay? Now, it will be in exact opposition with Uranus at 12 degrees in your 6th house, and this new moon will be making a sextile to Saturn in Aquarius in your 9th house. New moons indicate a new chapter starting somewhere in our lives. So just recapping on what the 6th house can pertain to when it comes to a new beginning. This can be a new daily habit, a new job, changing departments, hiring a new employee, getting a loan, or this could be you welcoming a new pet into your life. So with this particular new moon, there may be some kind of new project that you are taking on. Now, this doesn't necessarily need to be connected to the workplace. This could be your own project which you've started, which has a lot of intricate details that you need to attend to. Now, whatever new chapter is starting in your life, whether this is you changing jobs, changing departments, starting a new project, or implementing a new habit into your daily routine, you're likely to be able to carry this out in the long term. Now, because Mars is in a wide conjunction with this new moon and with Mars ruling your 11th house, which represents your long-term goals and aspirations and large groups of people and communities, whatever new chapter is occurring in your life, this can benefit a large group of people. This can benefit a community. This could be connected to a large-scale event. And, this could be something which you are launching online. And lastly, with this new moon, it's very likely that whatever new chapter is taking off, it's something that you've wanted to do for a very, very long time, or at the very least, you see this as being part of your legacy and something which people will remember you for. Now, the 10th of November, your ruling planet Mercury will be in exact conjunction with Mars in Scorpio in your 6th house. Mercury is not just the planet that rules you, it's also the planet of ideas, communications, tradespeople, and it represents the exchange of services. Mars is all about having a plan and doing something innovative. So with Mercury ruling over your 4th house, which represents your property, and with Mars ruling over your 11th house, which is all about your long-term goals, and it's also a money house in astrology, you may be engaging the services of a property manager. You may be engaging the services of a real estate agent or a leasing agent of sorts. Or you could be doing these things yourself because, like I said, this conjunction involves your ruling planet, which represents what you are doing. So you may be educating yourself on these matters, teaching yourself about the property market. You may be teaching yourself about cryptocurrencies. You may be learning about how to set up a social media profile, or you could be developing some kind of app or software which is going to benefit a large group or community. Now, on a different level, if you are a manager yourself or if you simply own your own business, you could be hiring a new employee, or you could be hiring a tradesperson. Maybe you're just hiring a tradie to do some painting around the house, or you need a carpenter or an electrician. On a different level, the sixth house rules over your health. So you could be engaging the services of some kind of health practitioner or a doctor or even a surgeon, which would be represented by Mars in Scorpio. Or perhaps you're speaking to someone about your overall health. Maybe you're seeing someone who is educated in holistic health. Maybe you're seeing a naturopath, or perhaps you're simply joining a gym or doing some kind of physical workout online. Now, Mars is all about setting a challenge or having an obstacle to overcome. When we see a conjunction between our ruling planet and Mars, this can indicate the challenge that you set for yourself. Maybe you're doing some kind of new habits challenge where it's like a 21-day thing, and you're trying to implement new habits in your life or get rid of old habits. Whatever you are doing with regard to your daily routine, setting something up from the 10th of November will be a very wise choice if that's like, the beginning date of something, because you'll be able to have a lot of follow through with whatever you're doing. Now, on the 14th of November, your ruling planet Mercury in Scorpio in your 6th house will be opposing Uranus in Taurus in your 12th house. Just 14 days later, on the 18th of October, we will see that same opposition take place with Uranus in Taurus, but this time it will be with Mars in Scorpio. So I'm going to interpret these two transits together, given that we're going to be experiencing these energies for that, 4, if not 5 or 6 day period. So let's just bookend this and say the 13th of November through to the 19th of November. So because we've got Mars and Mercury in the 6th house of conflict, opposing Uranus in Taurus in the 12th house of dissolving situations, and because all three planets are linked to things happening quickly, Mars and Mercury travel very quickly, and Uranus is representative of sudden events taking place. Essentially, this shows that you are able to be liberated from some kind of conflictual situation. Now, with Mercury ruling over your 4th house, this can show you breaking lease or leaving the property that you live in or selling it very, very quickly. Now, yes, because this involves your ruling planet, this can be you enacting these changes and having them carried out extremely quickly. But, the nature of Uranus, especially in the 12th house, shows that there will be elements of this which are outside of your control. The important thing to remember, though, is that Uranus rules your 9th house. The 9th house is connected to good fortune and seeing the bigger picture. So whatever change occurs quite swiftly or abruptly and that you feel a bit unprepared for, please know that it is for your best and highest good. And especially, just referencing this horse card again, this shows you running towards freedom. In fact, Uranus is associated with large wild animals. So I'm thinking of like a Brumby breaking free of some kind of negative attachment here. Now, with Mercury ruling over your 4th house, this can show a difficult chapter coming to an end when it comes to some kind of conflictual family situation. Now, it doesn't have to involve family. This could be the person that you live with. This could be your own children if you have them, or it could be a difficult situation which involves your parents. Now, the 6th house represents work, as I've mentioned several times now. So this can see you exiting some kind of job that has been basically having a negative impact on your ability to either see the bigger picture or take strides towards the kind of future that you want for yourself. Now, the 6th house is also connected to court cases. So for some of you, you may be seeing the end of a court case that has been ongoing in your life. And this could be one which involves property, family. It could involve something to do with the internet, given that Mars rules over your 11th house. So perhaps you've got some kind of issues with trademarks or patents, and now this can be resolved. Now, lastly, with this transit, we can see there being some very large expenses which are required. And that's because the 12th house is connected to large expenses. And in the sign of Taurus, which represents money, naturally this shows you having to basically fork out a lot of money. And this could be in relation to your work, given that Mercury and Mars are in your 6th house. This could be related to purchasing a property, given that Mercury rules over your 4th house. Or perhaps this is related to your education, because Uranus rules over your 9th house. Or perhaps it's international travel. Lastly, with this one, it could just be some kind of new tech or equipment for your workplace or whatever business that you have or that you're involved in, or it could be connected to the property that you own or the property that you live in. Now, lastly, for the month, on the 19th of November, there will be a partial lunar eclipse in Taurus at 27 degrees in your 12th house. Lunar eclipses are like full moons, but on steroids. They essentially indicate the powerful end of a chapter somewhere in our lives. So with this one occurring in your 12th house, this represents you feeling liberated on an emotional level and on a spiritual level. Now, if you have been in some kind of physical isolation for one reason or another, this can show an end to that as well, because the 12th house represents isolation, being in secluded places, and any kind of institution which is contained. So the 12th house, running along that train of thought, represents hospitals. It represents prisons. It represents being confined to any kind of room, whether you're in lockdown, wherever you live in the world, or perhaps you've had to isolate yourself for creative purposes or for your own safety. Now, this full moon in Taurus will see so many of you Geminis having a total and utter spiritual awakening, because the 12th house is all about our spirituality, and it also represents any kind of self-sabotaging behaviors that we exhibit. Now, the nature of these self-sabotaging behaviors is that we're not even aware that we're doing them, and we think that someone has a hold over us or that we are chained to some kind of situation. Given that Uranus is also in the sign of Taurus, this shows this total liberation from this mental state of purgatory, or feeling like you're imprisoned either mentally or physically, or maybe you are seeing the end of a prison sentence taking place. The 12th house is connected to addictions, and Uranus represents seeing the truth of a matter. Full moons are good for this as well, because they illuminate a situation which was once hidden from us. And especially given that this is occurring in the most intangible and invisible of houses, this shows you having a mental breakthrough, a spiritual breakthrough, an emotional breakthrough, and an energetic breakthrough. So with this full moon occurring in your 12th house, this can see some people who have been physically incapacitated by a physical sickness coming to. Yes, this can actually represent people coming out of a coma, because the 12th house represents sleep. And we also need to look at what the ruler of this eclipse is doing, which is Venus. Venus in Capricorn in your 8th house, which represents miracles and sudden transformations, is making a sextile to Mars in Scorpio in your 6th house, which is connected to health. So we've got physical health being tied to being either bedridden in, like I said, could be a coma, or you may have been bedridden in terms of, rehabilitating. Maybe you've been extremely sick and now you're able to have a sudden physical breakthrough. Now, with Venus being in Capricorn in your 8th house and with Venus ruling over money, relationships, how we nourish ourselves with food and the 5 senses, this can show a lot of Geminis basically breaking free from some kind of authority figure which has been putting pressure on you. But given that Saturn is in Aquarius and it is in the 9th house and it is now direct, this shows that you no longer feel bound by these belief systems which have been ingrained in you for a long time. And of course, with this full moon making a trine to Pluto in Capricorn in your 8th house, this can see a lot of you having some kind of radical transformation when it comes to how you experience your day-to-day life and your routines and your work environment and any kind of conflictual situation. And that's because Pluto rules over your 6th house, which represents all these things. So you can see that you're having this major breakthrough on all different fronts. Now, lastly, with this full moon eclipse, it is making a square to Jupiter in Aquarius in your 9th house, which represents your future. Now, squares are obviously challenging situations that we have to overcome, but they are internalized. Jupiter rules over your 7th house of one-on-one relationships, and it also rules over your 10th house, which represents your highest potential when it comes to worldly achievements, and it also rules over your public persona and your reputation. So the only challenging aspect that this full moon eclipse is posing is the one that you feel inside once you realize that your future has just completely opened up to you. Because the 9th house represents seeing the bigger picture. It represents taking the next step. It represents good fortune coming to us, and it's also associated with abundance. So once you're liberated from some kind of mental, physical, or emotional hell, and you realize that the world is your oyster, it's like, what do I even do with this? How can I make the transition from what I was and from how incapacitated I felt or how debilitated I felt or the isolation that I was in? And how do I now burst forth into the next chapter of my life? Maybe you've been involved in some very toxic relationships and now you're able to break free from those, like this Brumby, okay, like this wild horse, and now you can see your world opening up to you, and it's like, what do I do next? Sometimes having limitless opportunities can be even more scary than feeling like we have no opportunities. And so, Gemini, that's all I have for you for November 2021. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Enjoy your month ahead and take care.